It is week 3, winners and losers from the fantasy football season. We still have 2 more games tonight, so I'm sure a lot of fantasy matchups are up in the air. We got Bills, Bengals, Commanders, and Jags. We got some players there, but we are going over the winners and losers from the Sunday slate. And we're just going to jump right into it with, a guy that if you started him won your weeks, Jauan Jennings, 12 targets, 11 catches, 175 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I heard that he has, after yesterday's game, he has 2 or 3 less fantasy points than what he had all year last year. So go ahead, Dad. Take it off with Jauan Jennings, and for the people that started him, congratulations.
Yeah. Here's I'm lucky. I was one of those people who started him, and it's because I had Cooper Kupp injured, and just looked at it like, okay, this guy is the 49ers' third receiver, and we've seen him play before, so we know it's not like he's coming right off the bench and stuff like that. Debo's hurt. Kittle, I think Kittle was hurt. So this kind of made sense, and look what happened. It friggin', the guy scored big time.
Yeah, he was awesome. Do you think it's going to, as long as Debo and Kittle, let's say Kittle comes back, are you still starting Jauan Jennings?
I think so. Is he going to have another 45-point game or whatever? No, he's not. The 3 touchdowns, that doesn't happen every week. But I think he's going to be relevant enough, a starting wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. That's all I would say right there. That's good enough for me. So,
yeah.
But next week it could only be 15. So 15
sure.
points or something. But so
even you start him. I'm assuming most people started him hoping for like 10 points. So
right.
To get what you got. His 2023 stats: 19 catches, 265 yards, 1 touchdown. 2024, 18 catches, 276 yards, 3 touchdowns. So he's already surpassed last year in 3 weeks, which is amazing. Anthony Richardson's my first loser here. Man. And I was all in on Richardson. I wanted him as my starting quarterback. I actually I do have him in 1 league, but he's QB 11 on the year. But his last 2 weeks have been terrible, 12.9 and 7.1. And I never expected the passing to be amazing, which is why I was a little bit hesitant on guys like Michael Pittman and Josh Downs. But I expected him to at least throw for 201 and then be able to rush for 50 and another one, right? And we've only really seen that in 1 game. He's not running the ball as much as we thought. 4 attempts in week 2, 8 for 24 last week. Man, it's just less than 50% completion percentage each, 47 week 1, 50 week 2, 50 week 3. It's not looking good. He looks bad at times, like a bad quarterback. And that scares me too. Like, how long are they going to run with that? I know he's still the youngest starting quarterback in the NFL, which is kind of amazing. He basically his rookie year, and he didn't even play much in college, which is one of the biggest criticisms on him. But I'm nervous about Anthony Richardson, because at the quarterback position, you don't necessarily need 30 points, but you need someone to give you a consistent 16, 17. You can't have your quarterback giving you 7 points, 12 points. That loses you weeks. What do you think about Anthony Richardson? Do you think he's going to turn it around, or is it worry time here? Panic?
Well, yeah, I don't know. You don't have a lot of time in fantasy. The Colts may have 17 weeks to get them right or something like that, but we don't. As fantasy managers, we don't have that. We don't have that luxury, man. We can't be giving away weeks and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd be a little nervous, and I kind of half watched him play, I think, on the red zone. It was like later in the game. I don't know. But anyway, and it's like, I don't see anything blowing me away or anything like that. It's terrible. I'm just looking at ESPN, and it says he scored 5 points, 5.08, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty terrible.
Yeah, it was not good, depending on what league settings you have and all of that. But yeah, it's tough. It really is tough there. And Michael Pittman, Josh Down. I mean, Jonathan Taylor looked awesome, but other than that, like everyone else is kind of like you can't really start them. So we're going to be talking a lot about some Panthers today. The Chuba Hubbard, he kind of will go into a later conversation as well, but man, he was awesome. 21 carries, 114 yards, 5 catches for 55 yards and a touchdown. Pretty sure he was a top 5 running back this week. Let's see, he was RB5 with 25 and a half points. So yeah, I mean, we'll talk more about the Panthers, but do you expect this from, maybe not quite this high from Chuba, but a startable RB2 for most weeks until Jonathan Brooks is back?
Why not? I mean, obviously the the change at the quarterback, it changed the whole damn team. It tells you how bad the Bryce Young thing was dragging the team down. Yeah. Andy Dalton, an old man, comes in there. Andy Dalton's never been a bad quarterback. He took the Bengals to the playoffs a number of years, so he knows what he's doing. You just worry about offensive lines and stuff like. But anyway, I'll get out of control talking about that. But yeah, Chuba Hubbard, yeah, why not start him? I mean, if he's gonna produce stuff like this, and big huge thumbs up to the Panthers, man. Yeah. Plus, they beat the Raiders, which is even better.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to get more into the Carolina as a whole conversation at the end of this video. So, yeah, I mean, Chuba Hubbard, this was maybe, again, not quite this high, but I expected him to be a good RB2 until Jonathan Brooks started getting worked in a little bit. And this is what I expected. Was discouraged after, week 1, but this is what we were looking for. So
just look at one stat there on the screen: 21 carries and 5 catches. So that means they were using him. And when you get, volume like that, that means you're going to usually produce something.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Mark Andrews is a loser for me. 1 target. That's his stat line. 1 target, 0 catches, 0 yards, 0 touchdowns. Mark Andrews has not been good to start the year. A lot of the top tier tight ends, Kelsey, Andrews, McBride, Kincaid. McBride had a game because he got a fumble recovered touchdown, but Kyle Pitts, Laporta, all these guys have kind of sucked, for fantasy. Mark Andrews, he's had 1 good, decent game, 4 for 51, 2 very disappointing games. And one thing I want to point out with him is that he suffered the same injury as Tony Pollard in the playoff game, that fractured fibula or whatever bone it was, that fractured broken leg bone. And Mark Andrews suffered that last year. And it took Tony Pollard basically until like week 10 or 11 to kind of get going. Now, Tony Pollard's was a little bit later, a couple months later than Andrews, but maybe we underestimated this a little bit. He also was involved in it sounded like a kind of a bad car crash in the preseason.
Yeah, car accident.
So, yeah, like all these things, I think maybe we should have been talking about this and we weren't. I mean, he's so tough because you're going to continue to start Mark Andrews. Like, are you really going to go on the waiver wire and start, Juwan Johnson or Foster Moreau or, all these other, Tucker Kraft over Mark Andrews? It's like, no. So you're going to keep starting him, but it could be painful. Could be painful there. Anything you want to add to Mark Andrews? Or
no, you laid it out there, right there, and even the other tight end didn't do very good either on there. No. So, but they won. Yeah, and if you're flying home, you go, "Geez, I sucked today," but the team won. So,
yeah, absolutely. On to the other tight end that we're going to be talking about here. It's Cole Kmet. You have as a winner, 11 targets, 10 catches, 97 yards and a touchdown. I always liked Cole Kmet, as a talent. Just thought the situation with the rookie quarterback, a lot of mouths to feed, was going to be tough for him. He's tight end 2 on the week with over 20 points. Are you going to start Cole Kmet as long as Keenan Allen's out?
Well, yeah, that's what I was just going to say. That helps, but the quarterback play was not very good. In the 2 previous weeks. So, I understand why people weren't starting Cole Kmet. Maybe Caleb Williams figured it out. Hey, my tight end is my best buddy, and stuff like that. So, it's something to be paying attention to, and if you want to make a change and he's on your waiver wire, we know he's a good tight end.
Yeah.
He's a big dude too. He's like 6'5", and he's a prototypical tight end, and we know what he can do. So I wouldn't have a problem if you got somebody who's not producing, and the guy's there,
Yeah.
Make a change. Yep.
And my concern about him was how they were using him in the preseason, and the offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, he in Seattle rotated with 3 tight ends: Noah Fant, Kobe Parkinson, Will Dissly, and it would look like in preseason and in week 1 they were going to do that with Everett and Kmet. Kmet played just under 50% of the snaps week 1. That's not, you can't start a tight end that's playing less than consistently and getting less than 50% of the snaps. Last 2 weeks, he's been over 75%. And this week, it was his highest at looks like about 80%. So if he's going to be up there, I'm totally fine with starting Kmet. Even when Allen's back, if he's going to play, he's not going to have this type of production, but he'll still be, for a tight end, I think, start worthy. So
if he had 5 for 50, that's
half of what he had, basically.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. I have Tank Dell here as a loser. He did have 5 catches for 62 yards, so he's not a complete bust at all. The start of his season hasn't been great. He's definitely been kind of the third receiver for Houston. He had 40 yards week 1, -3 yards week 2, and then 62 yards this week. The biggest thing with him is he's just not playing as much as you need him to play in order to be a consistent option. So if you play in any type of shallow league, any 10-team league, any league where you're only starting 7 or 8 position players, quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends, wide receivers, he's probably a bench at this point. He's not out there on 2 wide receiver sets, which is not good for him, because if he's not out there, I saw the number here. Yeah, he missed out on 19 snaps and 2. He played 3 of 19 possible snaps in 2 wide receiver sets. So the Texans, 19 of their snaps, which is probably about a third, maybe a little bit less, a third of their snaps were in 2 wide receiver sets, and Dell was only out there on 3 of them.
This could be the Diggs effect right here, and this is something we talked about going into the season,
and we hoped the Texans were just going to run 70% 3 wide receiver sets, but they want to run the ball. They come from that San Francisco philosophy. So, he's going to miss out on potentially like 25 to 30% of the team's snaps. He's going to be very inconsistent. He's going to need to be very efficient, and he just hasn't been. So in deeper leagues, I'm still starting him. We play in a pretty deep league where it's 12 teams and we're starting 10 players. You got to start him there just because, it's a deep league and he has that upside. But I added a winner here too, Dad, not one of yours. Malik Nabers. This is kind of an obvious one at this point, but we haven't really talked about him to start the season, and I do want to talk about him. At this point, he's a must-start player. He is pretty awesome, and the biggest worry with him was, the quarterback play. Well, guess what? He's wide receiver 1 on the year, even with bad quarterback play. Daniel Jones did look better, but a couple of those catches Malik Nabers had to make was ridiculous. He has over 23 points each of the last 2 weeks in half PPR. He has 7, 18, and 12 targets on the year. So 37 targets in 3 games, which is crazy. 23 catches in 3 games, 270 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he's just awesome. And I just wanted to highlight that. So I don't think there's really much more to add there unless you want to.
No, he made a fantastic catch for one of his touchdowns in the end zone. Yeah. Just kind of ridiculous. Not everybody can do stuff like that. So we can tell he's pretty special.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I put Tyreek Hill here, but it's more the Dolphins in general. Skylar Thompson looked bad, and Skylar Thompson got hurt as well. So now Tim Boyle comes in, who we've seen that story. Now they do have Tyler Snoop Huntley. They didn't activate him for this game, but maybe they get him ready for the next game. I mean, even that, it's maybe he can run a little bit more of a consistent offense, but this is bad. It's bad for Tyreek Hill. It's bad for Jalen Waddle. It's bad for Achane. It's bad for everyone, really, on that team. I mean, a team that we all heavily invested in, and it's just not going to work out potentially while Tua is gone for, 3-4 more weeks at least. I mean, you're still starting Tyreek Hill. At least I am as of now, unless this happens for 2-3 more weeks, but yeah, anything you want to say about the Dolphins? It's just a really crappy situation.
No, it's it's not looking very rosy in the future. So let's with Tua on the IR, so hopefully they get it figured out. But those other quarterbacks, it's not gonna be the same. So we're not gonna get You're not going to see Tyreek Hill going for an 80-yard bomb every week, No,
definitely not. Hopefully Tua can get back sooner here. You had Rome Odunze as a winner. Go ahead and talk about Mr. Rome Odunze, who had 11 targets, 6 catches, 112 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, it looks like he's finding his spot into the Bears offense. Of course, Keenan Allen's out, so kind of a unique thing. Well, not a unique thing, but we had Cole Kmet just a little while ago. Now we had Rome Odunze. So the Bears lost the game, but their passing game looks like it's at least showing up. And Odunze, you can see his numbers there. So another guy, if you got him in a dynasty league, that's major bonus. And as long as Keenan Allen's out, because I don't know, if he comes back, and he will, then he's going to get the ball too. So
yeah,
but the future looks bright.
It does, and sometimes it takes a few weeks for these guys to click. So if anyone dropped Rome Odunze the first couple of weeks, you better be snatching them up. It also seemed to click for Caleb Williams in the second half. Did throw for 363 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was kind of empty, I don't know, in terms of real football stuff, it felt a little empty stats. But, sometimes it just takes that and saying, hey, I threw a couple touchdowns, first rookie quarterback this year to throw a touchdown. I threw for over 350 yards. I know I can do this, and then, kind of get going type of thing. So, just CJ Stroud mentioned it. It took him till week 3 to kind of get going last year. Until things started to kind of make sense for him, week 2, week 3 for him. So yeah, exciting to see. I have Rachaad White as a loser, 6 carries, 17 yards, 5 catches, 18 yards. The 5 catches at least gave you something, right? In PPR, it wasn't a complete bust, but I'm starting to get a little bit worried about Bucky Irving, and he looks so much better than Rachaad White running the ball. Bucky Irving is averaging 6.2 yards per attempt, which is obviously not sustainable. 9 for 62 week 1, 7 for 22 week 2, and then 9 for 70 this last week against Denver. 3 catches as well for Bucky Irving. Now, the usage for Rachaad White is still there. Rachaad White played 38 snaps compared to 14 for Bucky Irving. Rachaad White 20 early down to 6 for Bucky Irving. Rachaad White was the goal line guy. Rachaad White was the short yardage third down. Only thing is Bucky Irving took a 2-minute drill from him. But, Rachaad White still has the usage. But if you're just approaching this from a coaching standpoint and you say, we have a guy now who 3 years in a row for Rachaad White. Year 1, he averaged 3.7 yards per attempt. Last year, 3.56 yards per attempt. This year, Rachaad White's averaging 2.1. Is this just who he is? And maybe we we still use Rachaad White. We still, give him some. He's still going to catch a bunch of passes, but maybe we start mixing in Bucky Irving on early downs and making our offense a little more efficient.
Just to comment on this is, remember looking at Rachaad White last year and thinking like, yeah, what is he doing? I know he catches the ball quite a bit and stuff like that, and that's what almost makes him, I don't want to say a must play, but the rushing part of it just seems to be a bonus. And last year, here's a reminder: last year he was 1,000-yard running back. So obviously, not a very good day yesterday, but maybe be patient. If you're in a half PPR, full PPR league, him catching the ball will definitely help carry you through.
Yeah.
But 17 yards. Yeah, 17 yards. That's unsat.
Yeah, it's bad. Good. And I put Bo Nix as a winner here. In terms of him passing, he's still, not quite there, but he got a win. He's running the ball too. He has 35 yards rushing and a touchdown week 1, 25 yards rushing week 2, 47 and a touchdown week 3. So this is looking like a trend for Bo Nix. And because of that, even though he's only thrown for 600 yards and 4 interceptions and no touchdowns, he's still QB 16 on the year somehow without any touchdowns and 4 interceptions, through the air. And he put up 19 points last week again yesterday without a touchdown passing. And so, if he just starts to put it together a little bit, is, throwing for 200 and a touchdown, maybe this can turn into something with the rushing. So just wanted to mention that. Anything you want to add to Bo Nix there?
No, I got dogs fighting in the background.
No, that's fine. If you need to take care of it, go for it.
No, I don't. No. There's another example of a rookie quarterback, kind of maybe week 3 getting his shit together, figuring it out. Caleb Williams, Bo Nix. I forgot the other guy. The other rookie. But anyway.
Oh, Jaden Daniels. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see him tonight, but this is this is what we might come to see with Bo Nix, and the pretty efficient, 25 of 36. So I know the yardage isn't great, but if he's not turning the ball over, which has kind of been a problem with a number of quarterbacks and stuff like that, but
yeah, absolutely. Kind of getting it together. DeAndre Swift here I have as a loser. 13 carries for 20 yards, 2 catches for 22 yards.
I read something about him not long ago. For the year, he's got like 39 carries and 60 some yards.
37 carries, 68 yards. He's averaging 1.8 yards per attempt.
Yeah, that's not
it's not working, and his role is shrinking, by the way. His role is shrinking. It was clear week 1. He played the majority of early down snaps, all the goal line snaps. He split third down snaps with Travis Homer. Then he lost all his third down work to Homer in week 2. And now week 3, he lost some work to Roschon Johnson, again in third down, 2-minute drill, and stuff like Khalil Herbert took the goal line carries. It's a mess. It's a mess for the Bears running backs. I'm benching Swift and potentially even thinking about cutting him if I play in a shallower league. It's not good. It's not good at all. So this looks a little bit like Miles Sanders 2.0 from Eagles to another team, and then you just look terrible.
Yeah, well, you get the big you gotta, you don't think DeAndre Swift has lost it, but you got to think the offensive line, the offense in general, and stuff like that. But we don't care about that. We care about his fantasy production. So that's what, and DeAndre Swift, I mean, he's a good running back and stuff like that. And, he signed like a $24 million contract. So you thought his role on the team was going to be good. But, man, I'm not playing him. I'm not getting rid of him. If I got room in my roster, I'm just kind of benching him. And, hopefully you got somebody else to roll with. Yeah.
Last loser here before we get to the Dalton Panthers here is Zamir White. Once again, 10 carries for 34 yards. He didn't lead. He wasn't first in snaps for the Raiders. He wasn't even second in snaps for the Raiders. He was behind Amir Abdullah. And it's pretty clear what his role is. If they're somehow winning and dominating, he's going to maybe get 20 carries. I don't know how good he's going to be with him, but he might get that. Other than that, he's worthless. Like, you're not going to, and this sucks because a lot of people are drafting him 5th, 6th, 7th round. And, I was kind of in there for a bit, and then I started to get hesitant on him. It's not good. It's not good for Zamir White. He just doesn't look good. This looks like last year's Alexander Madison pick. And it's funny because Alexander Madison's on the team and he's looking better. So,
Amir Abdullah is an old guy too. So that means you must really suck.
Yeah, for sure. And then Andy Dalton and just the Panthers in general, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns. This is great news for everyone on Carolina. Real quick, we talked a little bit about Chuba Hubbard, right, and how good he looked. But you just look at the box score from this game for Carolina. Chuba Hubbard was great. Miles Sanders even had a touchdown. Deontay Johnson, 8 for 22 and a touchdown. Adam Thielen caught a touchdown and got hurt. Xavier Legette had a big play, 35-yard catch. So it wasn't just 1-2 guys. It was the whole team looked better. The defense looked better. The offensive line looked better. And I'm starting to wonder now because we saw Joe Flacco come in last year, light it up. Andy Dalton has played 2 games with Carolina over the last 2 years. He's like, he'd be averaging like 2.5 touchdowns and 300 yards per game. And these are 2 guys who they were like the measuring stick of like, all right, these are like the average quarterbacks in the NFL, right? And now they're looking like some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And I just wonder if they talk about how the defenses have changed the last few years to this shell, protect the deep pass. And I wonder if that, for these newer quarterbacks, younger quarterbacks, and we went through a decade of Rivers and Breeze and Brady and Rodgers and Manning, and now we have all these new guys, and they don't know how to attack this kind of, in college you can get away with your arm talent, these deep passes, and they don't know how to read these defenses and attack them when they're just kind of taking away that long ball. And then you get these veteran guys who come in and just oh, this is what I want. Play this against me and I will eat you up type of thing. So I think it's interesting, but go ahead and see anything you want to add to Andy Dalton. And do you think it's going to kind of keep up this way for maybe not this good, but
hell yeah. I mean, why would Carolina change? And, more
about Dalton. Do you think he's going to continue?
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be, 300 yards. Defenses know how to adjust. Okay. So coaches will look at the tape and stuff like that. And Andy Dalton, his years in Cincinnati he was okay. He was kind of like you said, a middle of the road guy, but he took the team to the playoffs and stuff like that. So, I gotta believe, I know you got a league where you had Tua in it and you had to pick up Andy Dalton and
Herbert.
Yeah, Herbert. I mean, the quarterbacks are dropping, man. So if Andy Dalton's out there, scoop him up.
Yeah. And it should give you confidence in Chuba and Deontay. Even Thielen, you got to see his injury and stuff like that. But if Thielen's hurt, then maybe even Xavier Legette, might be the guy, rookie receiver, and he's talented. So, yeah, it's very interesting.
I'm not sure who their tight end is, but
they have Jatavian Sanders and Tommy Tremble.
Tommy Tremble. Okay, there. All right.
Yeah, yeah. But none of those, you're probably not going to be picking those guys up. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting to me that we're seeing kind of like these veteran quarterbacks come in and just be like, yeah, this is easy, and yeah, I think it's gonna. By the way, Dalton, what does he have to lose besides slinging the ball? Like Joe Flacco last year, could be your last year ever starting, your last game ever starting, and go out there and do it. So. But that is it for our winners and losers week 3. Hopefully you guys won your matchups. We'll be back with more videos throughout the week.
2 games tonight.
There.
2 games tonight. Yep.
So enjoy that, and yeah, hopefully you've won your matchups, or you will win after tonight. So we will see you all in the next video.